Well, I'm smelling something pretty fishy going on in this kitchen, and it's coming up right now on the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. Well, howdy y'all, welcome to another episode of the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show, hosted by yours truly, Chef Ron Locke. We have two wonderful, healthy recipes we're going to be showing to you on this episode of the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show this week. Our first one's going to be a fantastic Greek salad that we're going to do for y'all. And if you've never had Greek salad before, you're in for a real treat. We're going to walk you step by step through the whole process. It's real simple to put together, just a little slicing up for prep work, and once you get all your veggies sliced up, you're good to go to mix it all up and serve it as part of a side dish to what we're going to show you is our second recipe, which is going to be a wonderfully cooked butter brown trout. If you've never had trout before, you've got to try this recipe. It's just fantastic. But let's go ahead and start off with our Greek salad by showing you our ingredient roundup and what's all going into that, alright? So let's mosey on over here and see what's happening. Alright, well, in our ingredient roundup for our Greek salad we have, first of all, 2 cups of cherry tomatoes. They've been sliced in half. We have here two cucumbers that have been peeled and cut into quarters. We've got 1 red onion that has been sliced thin and then into rings and then cut in half. So you've got like half rings that are going on with this, alright? Then we've got here 8 ounces or 1 small bottle of Italian dressing, your favorite brand. We've got here a 6-ounce can of pitted black olives that we've sliced in half. We've got here 1 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, a little spicing it up a little bit there. We've got here brother and sister complements of 4 ounces each of feta cheese, 8 ounces total. All right, they're usually sold in the 4-ounce tubs if you buy it that way. If you get fresh feta cheese and grate up or cube it up, you buy it in bigger quantities. But most people usually will go ahead and buy the crumbled already in the 4-ounce packages. Alright, so we got 2 of those. And lastly, we've got here 2 teaspoons of lemon juice that's going to be also included into this Greek salad. So that is your recipe ingredients there. Let's go ahead now and take a look and see how this all is put together. Alright, so we're going to take a little break and come on back and show you how that all works out. Alright, so come on and check us out.
You are watching WYE the Network.
Okay, we're back, and now we're going to go ahead and start assembling our chef salad that we have for you. And the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is get ourselves a nice large bowl or a salad bowl, whatever you have available. And what we're going to go and do is start adding all of our chopped vegetables, pretty much everything except for the salad dressing is going to go into this at first. Now before I do this, I also just want to talk about cleanliness, as I always do on every episode. Make sure your kitchen environment's nice and clean. Make sure your hands are nice and clean. I'm going to roll up my sleeves here because we're going to get down into work. And of course, guess what? Get my hands involved here again, as I do in almost every recipe that I do. Maybe today the sleeves will go up a little easier. You notice the last couple episodes we've done, I've had a tough time getting these sleeves up. So here we go. I think it's working for us today. I think luck is on our side here today, and I think we're going to be all right. Let's see. You know what I'm talking about. If you've ever, especially you guys out there, if you had to roll your sleeves up to do something, sometimes then it's just like wrestling with a pig. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands here because we're going to be getting really into this salad. Now, I don't know many people at all that really get their hands involved in their salads. Usually they use a tongs, or they'll use a couple wooden spoons or a couple spoons to toss and mix everything up. I've found, first of all, that these salad tongs that are out there are no good, because what happens is, especially if you're using a lettuce-based salad, it crushes the lettuce. It actually wilts and crushes lettuce. So by the time you're serving it to your family, friends, and loved ones, it looks like it died on the plate or in a bowl. It's just not good. And depending on how, if you're chilling it first before you're cooking everything else up, it'll actually start turning brown. So that's just not a good presentation at all. So the spoons, the 2 wooden spoons, mixing it up is fine. That works too. Sometimes it's a little clumsy depending on what kind of bowl you're using and what kind of ingredients are in there too. So I've just always found just getting my hands in there and mixing stuff up is just so much easier. You can soap and water washes them off. You got to wash off your utensils anyway, you know. If you don't mind getting a little squeamish in there and getting your hands in, it's fine. It works fine. So let's go ahead and start, all right? So we're just going to go ahead and add ingredients. We're going to go ahead and add our tomatoes in first, like so. All right, just a little conveyor belt I got set up here. If you see all these ingredients here, we're going to go ahead and add in our cucumbers next. Okay, that. Lots of ingredients here. I'm going to go ahead and add in my olives next. My black olives. Love, love, love black olives. Love black olives. I'm going to go ahead now and add in my onions. Right? And now, let's see, we've got some cheese to add in here. So let's go ahead and add in our feta. That's 4 ounces there. And another 4 ounces here. Okay? You see, look how easy this is, really. If you want to get away from a really just basic lettuce type of a salad, you know, the Greek salads just are fantastic. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and just add that in. Just a little bit. Not too much there. And then lastly, I'm going to take my mixture of salt and pepper, 1 teaspoon each, and just kind of glaze into that. All right? Just like that. Reminds me kind of making like a coleslaw when you're throwing all these different types of veggies in, and then you put the mayonnaise in at the end. But anyway, that's another story. All right, so here is our chef's salad, or our Greek salad, and we're going to go ahead now and just start mixing this up like so. I just take my hands and I just start mixing in. Take from the bottom and work your way up, just like that. And you know, I mean, obviously, if you make a little mess, don't worry about it. It's going to happen probably. Anytime you do any sort of like tossing like this, you're going to end up having some sort of a like there. See, I mean, just I don't know if the camera caught it. I mean, just went over the thing here. You're going to have a couple veggies flying over the bowl, you know, and that's all right. That's all right. As long as they're not all going over the bowl, then you're okay. Then you are okay. But you know, that's the fun. See, this is the fun of cooking. I mean, I love. This brings me back to when I was a kid. This brings me back to when I was young, and my mama used to always use her hands to mix everything. I guess that's why I do, you know. And so that's where this all really comes from in the end, you know. It really is the simplest form of doing your mixing if you can, you know. There's obviously a lot of things I won't use my hands to mix with because it's just it'd be silly. But you know, stuff like this is easy. I mean, this is so easy to do. You know, you're not fighting around with the spoons, and you're certainly not fighting around with tongs, you know. So anyway, all right. Well, you know, I think we've got this pretty mixed up already here. Now, layering it like, see, this way you can kind of layer it out like this too. All right, I'm going to wash my hands for a second. Obviously, they're a little messy right now, because even though they're dry vegetables, they're still mixture. We got that little bit of lemon juice in there as well, and that feta cheese adheres to all that like it's glue. So, because I still have to get my hands in there one more time, because we're going to add in now our Italian dressing, our 8 ounces of Italian dressing. Okay, get rid of that. All right. No rhyme or reason here, just go ahead and pour it in like this. There we go. Now, that's right, guess what? Stick your hands in there and just go ahead, you know, just like this. It's the easiest way to do this. I'm telling you. Now, I know some people, I shouldn't say, I know a couple people with the cucumbers that they will go ahead, they'll go ahead and leave the skins on. I don't know why they do that, but I've had Greek salads where they had the skins on, and I've just, you know, It's not fun to eat, let me tell you. I don't know why people do that, but they do. All right. So, there we go. That's pretty much it right there. It's nicely mixed up. And what you can do then is you can go ahead and sort your presentation out. I mean, you're obviously not going to have this as a presentation at the table. You're either going to put this in bowls or you're going to put this on a side plate, as a side on a plate with whatever else you're serving, right? So, but I like to make it look kind of nice and such when I'm doing this. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Just kind of making it all colorful and everything, like that. All right. Okay, there. I'm going to wash my hands here one more time. It smells good, I'll tell you. You've really got to try it. If you've never had a Greek salad, you've really got to try it. And it goes, I'll tell you what, it really, really goes well with fish. And that's why we're doing it for this episode on the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show, because we're going to be making our butter brown trout here in just a minute. So I wanted to make sure we had a nice salad, nice healthy salad to go along with our nice healthy entree. So that's it. All right, I'm going to go ahead, we're going to go ahead and just give you a quick shot of our final presentation of our Greek salad here on our overhead cam, and then we're going to come back and we're going to go ahead and start making our butter brown trout. You're going to love it, all right? So let's show you the final presentation of our salad right now. Well, here's our final presentation of our Greek salad that we just prepared for you. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator to let it chill a little bit while we go ahead and start preparing our wonderful brown butter trout. So let's go ahead and start showing you what's all going into that in our ingredient roundup, all right? Let's go. All right, I'm in front of my ingredient roundup here for our second of two recipes on this episode of the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show, our butter brown trout. So let's go ahead and see what's all going into those, all right? All right, well, first of all here, there'll be 4 to 6 trout fillets you're going to want to use. Now, for this particular show, we're just going to go ahead and just do 2 up for you, but this recipe will cover up to 6 trout fillets, all right? Now, one thing about the trout fillets I do want to talk about, and it's a personal preference, you can either leave the skin on or completely fillet on both sides. Now, some people like that nice crunchy skin on the back side for their trout, and some people don't. It's a personal preference. However you want to prepare it is how you do it. We're leaving the skins on because, personally, most of the people I know actually like that nice crunchy skin. All right, so again, personal preference. Next up here, 6 tablespoons of butter. We've got 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We've got 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. And lastly, a mixture of 1 teaspoon each of salt and pepper. That's it. See how simple this is. Now, the first thing we want to go ahead and do is make a lemon butter sauce that's going to be going into and around our butter brown trout. All right, so we're going to go ahead and mosey on over to our stove here, and we're going to show you exactly how we do that. Very simple recipe, and let's go ahead and show you that right now. We're in front of our stove cam here, and we're going to go ahead and show you real quick how to make this lemon butter sauce that's going to be incorporated with our butter brown trout. So the first thing you want to go ahead and do is get yourself a saute or a small frying pan, either one if you have, and go ahead and get that onto a medium to medium high heat. And now we're going to go ahead and start adding in our butter, like so. And this should just get started. And what you want to do is, basically what we want to do is we want to get this butter to a light brown. We want this to get lightly brown. before we take this off the heat, because that's what we're going to be doing. As soon as this butter gets lightly brown, we'll take this off the heat, and then we're going to show you what we're going to do next. So let's go ahead and brown this up, and then we'll show you how that looks, all right? Okay, so this is what you want to achieve here. Now, it looks like it's dark brown, but if I were to pour this into a clear glass, you would see it would be a tan colored or a light brown. The reason you're getting a dark brown look on the camera here is because there's a lot of emulsifiers that are dark brown on the bottom, but in actuality, it is a light brown, if you can see. Okay, so anyway, now, we've gone ahead and taken this off the heat, and the heat's off now. We're going to go ahead and add in 2 of our tablespoons of lemon juice here. Now you see it's still warm. It's still warm. Okay. And now we're going to mix this up like this. Okay. Just like this. The pan's still warm. There's no heat on the bottom. Now what the lemon juice is going to do, it's going to act with the butter here to create a nice sauce that we're going to use for our butter brown trout. Which is why it's called butter brown trout, because it's really brown butter that is going to be infused and put on top of our trout as a nice seasoning and a nice flavor. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Okay, just like that. Okay, see how that all gets incorporated. Now you see how dark brown that started out being. Now it's like a caramel color, and that's really what we want. A nice light brown caramel color. Just like that. Again, if I were to pour this into a glass, and you'll see it later on, it'll be a nice caramel color, probably a little bit lighter than that when we're all done. And that's great. That's exactly what we want. Just like that. You see on the sides of the foam, it's a tan. That's what we want. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and let this settle now for a bit. You can go ahead, when you add in your lemon juice, just go ahead and whisk this down for maybe a couple minutes, just to get it nicely mixed in with your butter. And then you can set this aside, alright? Because what we're going to do next is use this to go ahead and incorporate with our butter brown trout before it goes in the broiler, okay? So we're going to take a little break here and get set up for that, and we'll see you in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Well, alright, here we are. We're going to go ahead and get our fillets all ready to go here for our butter brown trout. And the first thing we want to go ahead and do, I'm going to wash my hands because I'm going to get playing in the food again like I normally do. Like I said, I probably wash my hands at least, gosh, probably at least 20 times a day, maybe more than that. Depends on what I'm making. Alright, we're going to go ahead now and start putting some of our ingredients on here. We're going to go ahead and add a little salt and pepper mixture on each of these on the tops, alright? So just go ahead and just sprinkle that on, like so. Not a lot, just enough to get it covered. You don't want to completely kill the taste of it. You just want to give it a little bit of a seasoning and a little bit of a flavor. There we go. Like that. Something like that. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our thyme. A little bit of thyme on here. This. There we go. I like thyme. I think thyme is one of the best seasonings out there. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, but thyme is so subtle. It's so nice. And it just gives a really earthy flavor. And it goes so well with fish as well. Makes a really good complement. Okay, so we've got our thyme, we've got our salt and pepper. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is add our lemon butter mixture here. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab the pan here. I think we're good to go. And just brush some of this on. Like so. Okay. Just like that. My mama used to always say, pretend you're an artist when you're doing any kind of brushing of stuff on. Okay. She always tried to make it fun. She had all these weird, I don't know if I'd say weird. You know, weird is sort of a kind of a word that you might use that is either or, you know, and what's weird to somebody is completely normal to somebody else. But anyway, she would always just try to make it fun and interesting with some quirky sayings is what I'll use. My mom had a very, very sweet and quirky personality, and she'd always try to come up with these great sayings and stuff for different things. So, hence the pretend you're an artist when you're doing any sort of basting or buttering, anything like that, when you're using a pastry brush or anything like that. Alright, just like that. You want a little bit on like so, just to get enough on. Okay, just like that. Okay, we're going to reserve the rest. We're going to reserve the rest of that for our dipping sauce a little bit later when we're done. Alright, so what you want to go ahead and do at this point is go ahead and preheat your broiler to 500 degrees. Alright, and what we're going to do, because our stove's ready right now, we're going to go ahead and pop this in. And you want to, excuse me for turning my back there, you want to go ahead and make sure that your rack is at the highest setting in your oven, because you want to broil this, right? Now you see this is what I call a broiling snake. And I think if you've seen a couple of cooking shows out there, they've kind of given you the same type of tips on this. If you're broiling, you always want to make sure you do a broiling snake, because what's going to happen is if the broiler, if you close the oven, the broiler is going to heat to 500 degrees, and then it's just going to shut off. Now if you're broiling something after a couple minutes, you're preheating it, right? It's not going to broil right at all, because the element's going to shut off. So it's not going to do you any good. But that's why you need what I call a broiler snake, and you just make it, you just roll some aluminum foil in it like a snake, about maybe 2 inches in diameter, and probably maybe about, I'd say, a foot long, just enough to where you got enough handle on it where it's not hot. And you just prop that into your oven so it keeps your broiler on the entire time that you're cooking. Alright, so you see that I've got that here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and broil this for 5 minutes on the meat side, the flaky side, and that's all we do. This is going to be fantastic, let me tell you. So let me go ahead, we're going to go ahead and finish this up. We come back, we're going to show you the final presentation of our butter brown trout, and we're going to do a little plate up and take a little taste test to see how both the Greek salad and the butter brown trout turned out. Alright, so you don't want to miss this. Come on back. Well, here you go, folks. Here is our butter brown trout straight out of the broiler. And I'm telling you, this house smells fantastic. In just 5 minutes, you convert this trout into just this wonderful smell of lemon butter and thyme and salt and pepper and the really light aroma of fish. This doesn't even smell like fish. This house does not smell of fish at all. Let me tell you, if you're a person that really freaks out about the smell of fish in your house, this recipe, I'm telling you, will not smell your house up of fish. The house smells great. The house smells lemon buttery is what it smells like, with a little bit of thyme and salt and pepper. So we're going to go ahead and plate this along with our Greek salad, and we're going to go ahead and show you our final presentation plate and take a little taste test of both of these and see how they turned out, alright? Let's do it now. Here it is, our presentation plate. Now we've got our butter brown trout and our Greek salad. Two wonderful, healthy combinations here on our plate. Makes for a great meal. But you know what? The flavors, I can smell the Greek salad. Just all the flavors and the butter lemon sauce and everything else. It's just really wonderful. I mean, just even before I even try this, it's so inviting. So let me go ahead now, take a taste test of these two and just make sure everything turned out alright. Alright, let's do that. I've got my fork and my knife, and I don't even know if I'm going to even need to use my knife on this one. We're going to go ahead and, before I start, let me tell you about the butter. Set my fork down for a second. I do want to tell you about the butter. Do you see how nice and tan that is? Now, I told you that the brown sediments on the bottom were from the process of heating up and cooking up the butter and such like that. What you want to do, and I would suggest that two things. If you're not really concerned about the sediments, you can just pour it directly from the saute pan into a nice butter serving dish like we have here for your sauce. Or you can go ahead and just use a sieve or use a filter and just go ahead and filter out those sediments if you want, and you get a nice clean butter like you do here. So we've got our nice butter lemon sauce, and now I'm going to go ahead and take my fork. I didn't want to forget to tell you all about that, because that's important, especially if you want presentation for your friends, family, and loved ones. All right. Anyway, I got my fork here. Now I'm not going to go for the skin on this, but I'm going to show you how easy it is just to flake this wonderful trout right off of the skin. I'm going to take just a little piece of it. Okay. Let's see here. It should flake right off like that. Just like that. I'm just going to take a little piece. Yep, there's the skin right on the bottom. It comes right off. I'm telling you, I love this recipe. I love this recipe. This recipe gets a YEE HAW YUM! You know why I love this recipe so much? First of all, the fish, the trout, does not either get fishy smelling in your house when you're broiling it, nor does it taste fishy at all when you're eating it. 5 minutes, I'm telling you, it's the easiest thing, and you can really impress your family, friends, and loved ones with this great fish. There is no fish taste at all. I know people, you hear trout, you're like, ooh, that's fishy, I don't think I want that. No. If you get fresh trout from a fish market or from a deli in a good supermarket, you have a wonderful, wonderful fish that you can enjoy. I'm telling you right now. I remember the first time that my mama made up trout. I'm not a big fish eater, let me tell you right now. I'll come clean on that. I love seafood, but I'm not a huge fish eater. But I always thought, I remember when I was little, trout, you catch them in the lake, and everything else. They're going to be fishy. They're going to be real fishy. Because my family were big fisher people, big fish people, fishermen. They were just big sportsmen about water and fish and stuff like that. But anyway, so my point is that I remember the first time I tried it, and it tasted like tuna. It tasted like tuna to me. You've got these great flavors going on. Let me tell you what's going on with this, by the way. I just wanted to share that little story with you, because in case anybody was a little afraid that this was going to be fishy, I'm telling you right now, I challenge you to make this, and I want you to come back and write me back and tell me if I'm wrong, all right? But I want you to also tell me if I'm right. Trust me on this. So the flavors you get from this is obviously what's going to hit you is the salt and pepper, and you're going to get that thyme flavor, and this wonderful butter lemon combination, this nice sauce that we made for you earlier. When that gets put on there, oh my goodness. Now, I'm going to take another little taste of this and dip it in the butter sauce, because we got it sitting there. And you don't need this. I'm telling you, you really don't even need to have the butter sauce out there, but I know some people are real funny about it, so I just want to take another real quick taste and do that. But like that. Ooh, where's my neck? Dripping all over the place here. I'm telling you, that butter sauce, it does heighten it even more. And you get even more of a, that is even more of a YEE HAW YUM, because there is that more buttery flavor to it, because you're dipping it right in there. You don't need it, but you can have it. You can pour it on top of it too if you want. All right, so that is our wonderful trout. That's our wonderful, wonderful butter brown trout that we got. I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bite of this Greek salad that we made up here. Let me get some of the veggies in here, if I can get a little bit of each. Let's see. And some of that wonderful cheese. I'm looking for a small piece of onion here. Here we go. Well, there we go. Oh, not on a fish though. You gotta love it. All right, there we go. Oh, let me grab my napkin real quick. Take a taste test of this. There's nothing more fantastic than a perfectly done Greek salad. you make the recipe like I showed you here on this episode today, this and the butter brown trout, you want a healthy, impressive meal for your family, friends, and loved ones. There you go. It's a 1-2 punch right there. All right. That Greek salad gets a Greek YEE HAW YUM. It's really, I'm telling you, the flavors. The feta cheese and the Italian dressing make it so good. Now, like we showed you here on the show, make your Greek salad first, okay? And then chill it for about an hour or two while you're doing your fish and whatever else you want to serve with it. You know, I've done cornmeal biscuits with this and cornbread and all kinds of good stuff as my sides as well. But make that Greek salad first, all right? Because you want all those flavors to infuse within the Italian dressing. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that's all the time that we have on this edition of the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. I want to thank everybody out there, as I always do each episode. You know, y'all have just been so supportive. Thank you so much for supporting us and watching the show, and all your great comments and all your suggestions and everything else. It's just, trust me, it's just been wonderful. I personally read all the emails and everything that y'all send, and just thank you from the bottom of my heart and bottom of the show's heart for watching us and supporting us on all these shows and all these episodes, all right? Thank you so much. All right. Well, this is Chef Ron Lott signing off as I always do by saying, get off that couch and get cooking! We'll see you next time.